প্ৰিয় শিক্ষাৰ্থীসকল, কৃষ্ণকান্ত সন্দিকৈ ৰাজ্যিক মুক্ত বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ৰ বিদ্যায়তনিক দৃশ্য শ্ৰাব্য অনুষ্ঠানটিলৈ আপোনালোকক স্বাগতম জনাইছো। স্বয়ং প্ৰভা DTH চেনেল 20ৰ যোগেদি শিক্ষাৰ্থীসকলৰ অধ্যয়ন কাৰ্য অধিক মনোগ্ৰাহী আৰু ফলপ্ৰসূ হোৱালৈ লক্ষ্য ৰাখি বিভিন্ন বিষয় সামৰি আমাৰ এই বিদ্যায়তনিক অনুষ্ঠানটি সজোৱা হৈছে। আহকচোন প্ৰিয় দৰ্শকসকল, আমাৰ আজিৰ খণ্ডটিৰ মাজলৈ আগবাঢ়ো।
Dear learners, I am Trisha Dowerah from the Bhupen Hazarika School of Mass Communication, Krishnakanta Henrik State Open University. And I would like to cordially welcome you all to another online video class on mass communication and journalism. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the relevance of traditional folk media. This particular unit belongs to the paper Traditional Folk Media from the third semester, BE in Journalism and Mass Communication under Krishnakanta Henrik State Open University. This is the 7th unit of this particular paper. In this unit, we are going to talk about and discuss about the traditional folk forms in rural India, its impact on rural development, and its different uses in different fields of life. Why we are concentrating on rural development is that yes, urban areas or semi-urban areas, the development is almost there, it is to full potential. It's only in the rural areas that there's still more work is left to be done. And what the government is doing is that it's not only making use of different, mass media forms, maybe folk media forms, it may be different print media forms, it may be electronic media, online media, but the government of different organizations or different agencies are trying to make best use of the traditional folk media forms, because these folk media forms are deeply rooted in the society, and they have been there since past last 30-40 decades. People have been seeing that. People have actually grown up listening to different religious discourses. People have actually grown up watching puppetry. People have grown up watching the different folk theatre forms or the folk songs or the folk dance forms. That is why the government or the different organizations of the government, different units of the government, they have been making a very good use, or they have been using the different folk media forms to its full potential, so that the people can actually be able to relate to the issues or the concerns which these different folk forms are trying to portray, and thereby its impact is very immense, as we know. Let's try to understand what impact has been giving on, or what impact can actually be seen in rural, as far as rural development concerns. Let's try to understand with the help of a few examples. Of course, when we talk about the third world countries, the main concerns relates to urbanization, industrialization, as well as the capital growth, and the country as a whole have been focusing on development issues, and development is either directly or indirectly related to the urbanization problem or industrialization problem. So that can be fully achieved only the people make best use of the available resources at hand, and those resources can actually be put forward in front of the people, can be portrayed to the general public through such traditional folk media forms. And traditional media, it actually feels that vacuum by representing the everyday culture and rituals, which addressing the issues and concerns of the community and educating the non-literate groups. Okay. So, as I've already said, how over the last couple of decades, folk media have been used on a wide scale. It's not only about this particular country of India, but worldwide. Folk media forms have actually taken a very good shape in educating the general public. Way back in 1972, UNESCO, they have actually organized a series of meetings in London on making the best use of integrated use of folk media and mass media in a family planning program. And the success of this program resulted in a number of seminars. So from that 1972, from the particular meetings, the series of meetings, it has actually spread that there were other seminars were conducted, there were different workshops were conducted around the world to mainly focus on how people can actually make the best use of different folk media forms. not only for family planning programs, but from other socially relevant issues as well. And from that time onwards, from 1970 onwards, even the Indian government, they realized that there is a huge potential for folk media forms, which can actually help in the development process. Because in post-independence period, there was a lot of pressure on the government to to uplift the society, to give a better work life to the general people. So they actually wanted to make the people aware that what problems the country has been facing, what the people in general can take up, and have which can actually lead to a holistic development of the society. Then of course the country came up with a 5-year plans, as we all know about that. And the 5-year plans, they also not only emphasized on the electronic media, but they also emphasized on how the country can make the best use of traditional folk media forms for disseminating information about the different government schemes as well as policies. So if we look at the historical overview, so definitely the effectiveness of traditional media is immense. Okay, we have seen, and it's not a very new phenomenon in the country. Even in the 1940s, even in the pre-independence period also, we have the IPTA group, that is the Indian People's Theatre Association, and this particular group, more specifically in Bengal, in Gujarat, in Maharashtra, in Andhra Pradesh, they have carried out immense campaigns, to popularize, the different issues, which might actually bring about to raise the consciousness of the people, to bring about a social awareness as well as to change the political image of the country. And in a post-independence period, the scenario has also completely changed. The government have continued, to convey the different development messages to the rural population. And even long time back, Jawaharlal Nehru has himself said that I'm greatly interested in the development of a people's theatre in India. I think there is a great room for it, provided it is based on the people and their traditions. Otherwise, it is likely to function in the air. It is a people's approach. Nevertheless, I think an effort should be made in the direction. So this particular quotation has been taken from the IPTA bulletin, which they have published in 1943. And here, Jawaharlal Nehru has himself categorically he said that he himself is very much interested, because he was always very much focused on developing the country. Because in a pre-independence period, there was a lot of underdevelopment taking place under the erstwhile British government. So in the post independence period, a lot of emphasis was given how the resources can be properly developed, and what mediums or what tools can be actually used, what communication tools can be used to actually reach out to the people, to reach out to the common masses, so they will be able to understand the entire concept of development from their own different perspective. And it's not only about the IPTA group doing their bits, or it's not only about the different meetings or seminars are being held or propagated by the government. There were other NGOs who have also played a very crucial role in the success of the this use of the different traditional media folk forms for development purposes. And if you look at the if you look at the history of the country, you'll actually find that different folk songs, they were actually used for the success of the Chipko movement and Epikov movement. Okay, now we are very much aware what the Chipko movement is all about, where the village women, they go and they grab the trees. They don't want the trees to be cut down. And that is basically from the environmental point of view. And even the folk art forms were used for different environmental purposes in most specifically South India. As you remember, the Save the Western Ghats campaign was there, where the people came together to save the Western Ghats, because Western Ghats it has a huge flora as well as fauna. Okay, but because of urbanization, because of development, people were cutting down the trees, people were destroying the entire environment as a whole. So there was a lot of campaigns, there was a lot of movements, there was a lot of a kind of it stirred the conscience of the people to actually, to save such kind of the environmental places from degradation. And even the McBride Commission, we are very much aware of the McBride Commission. It also has recognized the importance of traditional media as far as the development process is concerned. Okay, and of course, it's not only the rural areas, even the urban areas, the impact is very much seen or very much felt. And they are the most appropriate channels to change the attitude, because however hard we try to educate the people, we might give big lectures on environmental protection, we might try to talk about what actually can be achieved to bring about a holistic development in society. We might talk about bringing about a societal development, we might talk about bringing about a political, economic development, but nothing will materialize if the people won't be able to take in the knowledge that has been given to them. So what exactly counts? The behavior, the attitude, as well as the outlook of the people. There has to be some kind of change in the behavior. Without bringing about a change, you can't expect the people, to take in the information that's been given, and they'll work at the grassroots level. They try working in there. Some might be interested, no doubt, but some might just let it go. So what can be done? Definitely, we need to bring about a change in the behavior and attitude of the people, and that can actually be achieved not only through the print media, electronic media, but traditional folk media forms. Why it can be achieved through traditional folk media forms? Because this media are related to the people. They're related to the grassroots level. People are able to relate to it. Okay, it's all about tradition. So when we talk about tradition, because people are so much used to seeing them, people have actually grown up seeing the different traditional folk forms. So they are able to understand the different issues that are being propagated. There have been different issues that are being portrayed through such traditional folk forms. Of course, in the last few decades, it's not only that traditional media have been used or are only the mainstay of communicating different issues and on deliberations or the information to the general public. There have been some technological innovation as well. And when we talk about technology, it's not only that the different online resources have come up, the different online media channels have come up with electronic media, television is there, radio is there. But apart from that, there are other channels as well. But if those channels can actually, if we need to make use of those channels, which might lead to manifold growth in a communication level, or which might lead to manifold growth at the national level, then there has to be proper utilization of the different resources. So communication is very important in this aspect, and communication at different forms, at different levels. It's not that you're trying to communicate to the people only through the different print media, or maybe through different electronic media, or maybe through only traditional media. But what matters is whether the people have been able to take in the information that has been given to them. And that can only be achieved if we bring about a change in the behavior of the people, if we bring about a change in the attitude of the people. Because, the different communication channels or the different folk media forms, as we are talking about, it actually appeals to the emotion rather than the intellect. So it's more easily penetrate the message of development among the rural masses. And it's a very, very strong social tool, because it can tackle the issues at a different level. And these issues can be different issues. Maybe it might be related to any health and hygiene issues. It might relate to any issues about providing safe drinking water. It might lead to any issues about skill development, or it might lead to issues about changing the village structures, changing the values, and so on and so forth. And now when we talk about different uses, so far we have tried to understand the different types of traditional folk media forms in rural India, and of course we try to understand how folk media can extensively be used for rural development. And it's not only about rural development. Traditional folk media has also been used in different fields of life. Okay, because they're so indigenous in nature, the indigenous channels of communication, and so they've survived and flourished over so many decades. So of course the content might change, like what might the contents, for instance, like 30-40 years back, the contents of different folk forms might have been about rural development, it might be about family planning and those issues. But cut back to post like 30-40 years later, the contents might not be the same. In the present context, the different issues might be about technology. The issues may be about digital learning. The issues may be about bringing about holistic development. So the channels will be same, but the contents might differ, or the different issues in which about which the traditional folk media forms will try to portray, will try to disseminate, might be different. So that's what, and it's like I've already mentioned that the different government units, different government departments have been doing the bit in bringing about awareness among the people. And some of the most popular units, we have the Directorate of Field Publicity, and it's the largest rural oriented interpersonal communication medium in the entire country. And DFP, which is the Director of Field Publicity, is basically engaged in the task of publicizing the different programs and policies of the government, because it has more than 200 plus field publicity units. It tries to publicize the different government machineries, tries to publish the different government campaigns, through different public meetings, through seminars, to exhibitions and other live programs. Of course, we have the Song and Drama Division as well. And the Song and Drama Division is another important, it's an independent media unit of the Ministry of Information Broadcasting, Government of India. And this particular unit, it tries to promote the resourceful live media, most particularly the various folk forms of the country. And Song and Drama Division also, it tries to make use of different traditional performing arts like drama, folk and traditional plays, folk recitals, dance, drama and puppet shows, and so on and so forth. So far we have seen how the different government departments, how the different NGOs, how the different social action groups, they have been using, or they have been making use of different traditional media for communicating the different development issues to the local masses. Okay, it's like different parts of the country. It's not only about South India. It's not only about North India. Even the eastern part of India and the western part of India. Okay, so the different each region has their own distinctive performing art forms. Each region have their own distinctive folk songs. They have their own narrative forms. They have their own religious discourses. So these different forms or different categories of traditional folk media, they combine together to bring out the best within themselves. Okay, because at the end of the day, we want the people to change. If we actually want to bring about a behavior change, if we actually want to bring about a social and behavior change communication, we need the people to actively participate in the development process as well. It's not that the government functionaries or government, the people associated with the different government departments have been doing or trying to convey the different issues to the people, and the people are just being mute spectators to that. That will actually not bring about development. It should be created in such a way that people can actually participate in the development process. So participation is a key towards bringing about completely societal development of society. Okay. So with this, we come to the end of our today's class, and so far we have tried to understand the traditional folk forms in rural India. We also try to understand the impact folk forms, the different traditional folk forms have on rural development. We also try to understand how the different government departments, the different NGOs, the different social action groups, they have been making use of different folk media forms for bringing about a development in other areas as well. So with this, we have come to the end of our today's class, and for any other detailed information, you can refer to your own study material. We have enlisted a list of other books are there. There are other references books are there. You can even refer to other important online resources which you can type in Google, and you can just get access to that. So, and With this, we've come to the end of today's discussion. Thank you so much.
ইমান সময় আমি স্বয়ং প্ৰভা DTH চেনেল 20 যোগে সম্প্ৰচাৰিত কৃষ্ণকান্ত সন্দিকৈ ৰাজ্যিক মুক্ত বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ৰ বিদ্যায়তনিক অনুষ্ঠানটিৰ আজিৰ খণ্ডটি উপভোগ কৰিলো। এই বিদ্যায়তনিক অনুষ্ঠানটিৰ জৰিয়তে শিক্ষাৰ্থীসকল নিশ্চয়কৈ ভালেখিনি উপকৃত হৈছে। পুনৰ আন এটি বিষয় লৈ আমি আপোনালোকৰ মাজলৈ আহিম। নমস্কাৰ।